It would have been beautiful had it been 30 seconds earlier, but also it would be a risk, unnecessary risk to take. And he had told them, like, when you boys do make your debut, I will definitely be there. And hence, him being the man of his word, he came down and he helped the boys join the camp. So definitely, Longsukumba is the next in line. It's just a matter of him being 100%.
So Khriemelie, first of all, congrats on the performance of the boys at MFN 9. So how are you feeling after seeing securing 3 wins at MFN 9?
It's a great feeling. It's a realization of hard work and the effort that we put in for those 8 weeks. So good. It's a sense of accomplishment at the end of it.
Okay, so if we come to the fights, like what did you manage to execute the game plan that you had for each fight, or like how did it go when the fight actually happened?
We definitely did. The only one that went completely exactly the way we thought it was Imkong, which was identical to the game plan. It was a game plan that we had built up in the last few days. Arsen and Avizo, the initial part of it was perfect. It was just the ending. That's why we were unable to get the finish, because we had game planned the entire sequence of events. And I'll say the first half of it went perfect. The second half didn't go perfectly, and hence we're not being able to get the finish. Right. So longer we speak, I'll go into more detail per fighter as and when you ask.
Okay, so we get straight into that. So the first fight we had Arsenba fighting against Bishwamitra. So what was the game plan going into that, and how did it all play out for you?
So we did notice that Bishwamitra does switch. He stands orthodox and he does go southpaw. Interesting thing we saw was that he shoots when he's southpaw. He doesn't really shoot that much when he's orthodox. So our idea was to force him to go orthodox, and that's when we would look for the finish. If you notice the fights also, when we had planned out when he's southpaw, we'll touch the leg, we'll pepper the leg, we won't bang, we'll just touch. Once it starts hurting, we'll force him to switch orthodox, and that's when we start banging the calf kicks, which is also in the fight is visible, because when he's southpaw, we were not banging. Arsen was just touching that leg. Of course, he's hitting hard, but we're just touching. The reaction was not that profound. It's when he turned orthodox and we were banging the left leg. That's when you can see that Bishwamitra's reaction was a lot more pronounced. That's because we had planned orthodox to bang that lead leg. And once we start banging that lead leg, the finish would come. The moment it starts overreacting to that lead leg, the finish would come. But props to him, he didn't really play orthodox. Majority of his fight was in southpaw. Even though we were banging that lead leg, he didn't really switch to orthodox.
So I counted like around 40 kicks landed from Arsenba in that low kick. Around 40 low kicks were thrown across 3 rounds. The third round already, like half of it went on the ground also. So like
we also the last round we wanted the finish. We had discussed also to look for the finish third round, so not to look for the hands and get the finish. That's why before we went to the ground, Arsen wasn't really throwing that many leg kicks, and he was committing more on the hands. If you notice, the first 2 rounds, we were not really committing that much on the hand. In the third round, when Arsen really started committing on those hands.
So when the fight went into the ground, like in that third round, like was that something that went off the plan, or like did you had it covered?
We had it covered. And I think all 3 fights showed that we are not kickboxers, we are not wrestlers, we are not jiu-jitsuers. We are MMA athletes, like be it standing, be it wrestling, be it against the cage, be it on a takedown. I wouldn't say we excel at everything, but we are comfortable wherever it goes. And even on the ground, we had noticed Bishwamitra is a scrambler. Watch things, he doesn't really, it's not technique 1, 2, 3, I control this, and I do this. He scrambles a lot, and he has beaten all his opponents due to athleticism. He is a lot more athletic than everyone else. So he scrambles a lot faster. He moves a lot faster. He's a lot more light on his feet on the ground. Our game, we had decided, of course, we scramble. We have scrambled lots ourselves. But on the ground, we discussed that don't give him space. Once we go down to the ground, we know Arsen is very strong. So if that happens, just clamp down, stop him from moving, and take it from there. There's no need to play that scramble game with him. Just hold him. And as the third round, when we did go to the ground, you could see Arsen was just controlling him completely. There was no question of like losing position by hitting and allowing the scramble to happen.
So after the fight, like what's the first thing that you told to us, and like, and how was the reaction after the fight?
It was, I don't really remember, to be honest. Of course, I did go and congratulate him, but I had 2 more fights. I had 2 more fights to go, so I didn't spend my time celebrating. That's why I wasn't there. I immediately went backstage. I went to Imkong and I made sure he was ready for his fight.
So the second fight we had like Imkong fighting, and there was a opponent change as well. So how did that how did you handle that, the last minute opponent change?
There was an opponent change. It was immediately Imkong and me, we sat down. We were trying to figure out Kapil. We noticed he throws a lot of kicks, a lot of naked kicks without setting up. So we didn't really have much time to think of something concrete, but the idea was catch that kick and take him down on the catch kick. There's no need to do anything else. He's going to give you that leg, and you just grab onto that leg and you take him down. Looking back on hindsight, I could say we went in a little too one-dimensional. So if you watch the entire fight, Imkong was also waiting a lot, because we did go in, since it was a last-minute change, we did go in thinking that, okay, we're going to pick something and we're going to work on that. But unfortunately, it was our fault that we went in a little too one-dimensional. So we just waited for him to throw that kick. It wasn't anything active. We didn't really do anything active because our mindset was like, he's going to throw that kick. We are going to catch it, and then that's when our game plan starts. Lesson learned. Even though it's a short time, we need to have more options when you go into a fight.
Okay, so this was a fight that you got that finish that you were looking for it. On the ground, like Imkong dominated and got that finish. So was that a happy moment?
It definitely was. I'm feeling a little bad because Imkong's like, I could have finished the fight much earlier. But all my fighters and me, we have a very good relationship, and they used to know I wasn't really calling out the submission. I was saying control him. Because again, I would say in a way we became too relaxed. We took him down, we controlled the entire fight. So my thought process was like, why risk a submission right now? Because it's okay. It's not like we're losing the fight. It's not like the second round. We cannot take him down whenever we want. We thought, let's hold that position, let's ride him out. And the second round, we got the ground and pound finish. We got the ground and pound TKO finish, which I feel in MMA, it's a lot safer to look for the TKO ground and pound finish rather than go for a submission and maybe lose position. Maybe, yeah.
So then we had Avizo fighting against Negi, who's known to be a striker. So how was the preparation game plan for that fight?
Oh, so I was very excited with that fight because everyone says Negi is a good striker, but no, he's someone he's not bad everywhere. He's got good he's got good wrestling, good BJ, good striking. I felt a lot more comfortable going into that fight because yes, Abhishek is okay everywhere. Avizo is good everywhere. He's good striking, he's good wrestling, he's good on the ground. I really, really enjoyed Abhishek's guard. And I think he has a very, very active guard. It's just not a hold and control type guard. He's pretty active with that guard. I quite enjoyed watching that as a spectator, as a fan. I enjoyed that. Well, again, if you go on to what the game plan was, Abhishek also switches. He switches stances, not a lot, but sometimes. So again, our thing was to pepper, to touch that lead leg and not really commit on the hands, to touch, wait for the switch. When the switch happens is when we will look for the finish. Also, interestingly, when the knockdown happened, it happened when he was southpaw. So it was something that we were looking at, like that's when we were going to bang. That's when we were a lot more comfortable throwing those power shots and connecting and dropping him. When he was orthodox, it's more about touching, force him to switch, and then we'll look for the finish.
So taking it to ground, like was there any was that anywhere in the plan? Because Avizo was having a lot of success on the standing, so ground was not at all in your plan, if I assume.
No, like even the commentating team was saying that Avizo is a grappler. Avizo is a grappler. Avizo is not just a grappler, and he wanted to show that. And from the start, we were thinking he's saying he wants to. It's something that he's been getting more comfortable with. Yes, he's always been a grappler. It's something he's always been comfortable with. But striking is something he's getting a lot more comfortable with, and he wanted to showcase that. I think his striking is phenomenal. It's only going to get better. His grappling is already very good. So it's just a matter of getting the striking, which I feel it clearly is. Also, interesting, at the end of the first round, when Avizo went for the leg lock, it wasn't a takedown. It wasn't a takedown. He went for the I forgot what the takedown, what the takedown, but it's a judo takedown where you cut the legs and you switch immediately to a heel hook entry. So it's something that Avizo has been for some reason is something that he decided to work on backstage, like literally minutes before the fight. He wanted to drill. He was drilling that backstage. So I remember he was up against the cage, and he looked at me, and he asked me how much time. He asked me how much time, and he winked at me. So I immediately realized, okay, he's gonna go for that leg. So that I remember telling me, break his grip. So Negi, Abhishek was holding him like this. He's going to break the grip. So as soon as Avizo broke that grip, he switched. He went to the floor for that leg lock entry. It would have been beautiful had it been 30 seconds earlier, but also it would be a risk, unnecessary risk to take at that point of that fight. Yeah,
it's like that.
I think that sequence was brilliant.
That last minute thing you learn before the exams, and you go in and execute that.
Yeah, I haven't. He did tell me. I completely forgot about why he did that. There was something happened in one of the fights. He saw something happening, and he's like, "Wait, this might happen in mine. So let me just get comfortable with it." And backstage, he kept drilling that leg lock entry.
So after the wins, like, how did you guys celebrate? Like, what was the reaction in the camp after this?
Not much. We are not. It's wrong to say that we're the most religious people, but then we do take solace in prayer, all of us. So we did get together and we did pray and thank God for all the opportunities and the fortune that he has provided us with. So we sat down, we prayed together. I don't really think we ate. I don't remember eating that night. But the next day we went to my sister's house, made a meal for us. So we celebrated like that. And then we came home and then we parted ways. I haven't met them because, of course, this whole week it's holiday for them. Let them spend time with their family and loved ones. So we'll meet over the weekend. I guess that's when the race celebration will start.
Before we get into the future, like if we come back to the camp, I think Chaitanya Gavali was also there to help with the camp. So how was the whole atmosphere like for the fight camp ahead of the fight?
Oh, first thing first, let me, Chaitanya is a stud. He's such a brilliant support. And he had told the boys, like last year, 2 years back, when he had come down for his MFN camp, and he had told them, like, when you boys do make your debut, I will definitely be there. And hence, him being the man of his word, he came down and he helped the boys join the camp. This was a phenomenal camp. It was brilliant. So one of the beauties of this camp was it was a long camp. So longer camps give you more time to adjust your body into strain. If it was a short camp, then you're immediately jumping into the deep end. It's immediately hard. But a long camp, you're able to build up your aerobic capacity. You're able to spend long time jogging, getting your aerobic things correct, and then switching into an anaerobic workload. So having the long camp really made that perfect. Everyone's weight was spot on. More than the fight strategy, it was just that. It was enough time, more than enough time given for everyone to reach peak performance.
All of these fighters like had extensive amateur career. So has that helped before they made that move to the professional scene? Like how much has that helped for them?
It's definitely helped so much because especially Arsenba from day one is a very, very aggressive fighter. Aggression has most of the time worked to his favor, but it also doesn't really work sometimes. So having that amateur record, having those amateur losses really made him realize that no, you can't really walk in with ego and think to thrash everyone. Imkong also has had a thorough amateur record. He actually hasn't competed for a long time, so it was a little bit of ring rust for him. Avizo has the least number of amateur experience, but from day one, Avizo was very skilled. It was just a matter of getting comfortable with that pressure, and I think it's something that he has gotten comfortable with, and a monster was born that night because he became so comfortable. Like I enjoyed myself. So I don't see that too often. I've rarely seen that with Avizo when Avizo has come and told me like he thoroughly enjoyed himself.
So I understand that this is we are just skimming the top here. Like there are a lot more fighters out there in TCA Nagaland. So what does the future look like for these three and the other fighters on the camp?
Longsakumba as early as possible. Abhishek was supposed to be Longsakumba's opponent. Actually, the first offer came down for Longsakumba, but Longsakumba being injured, we spoke to Coach Allen, told him if the opponent is okay with this change, we are very comfortable with Avizo stepping in and taking this up. So definitely Longsakumba is the next in line. It's just a matter of him being 100%. We have quite a few more that were at the cusp of turning that leaf. So I've never rushed it before, and I see no reason to rush it.
So lastly, is there anything that you want to put out there, like regarding the performance of the boys, like the future things that are lined up for TCA Nagaland? So what's the closing word from
you? We're just a bunch of really boring guys who love fighting, right? And I've also came back to Nagaland on Sunday, and Sunday itself I messaged Coach Allen like, when is the next show? When can I start bothering you for fights? We want to stay active. Like the boys are not injured, and they're telling me they want to compete. So I know Friday was the fight. Saturday we stayed Delhi. Sunday came back, and Sunday I immediately messaged Coach Allen like, when can I start annoying you? We want to be active. For no other reason, we just love competing. So we want to be up there.